Have you ever wondered if you should become a fractional CFO? Well, let me tell you a little bit about my journey on becoming a CFO leader and how that might help you make a decision for yourself. Hi, I'm Jennifer Peak, founder of the CFO School. We help CPAs become high-performing fractional CFOs. By the end of this video, you'll learn the key considerations that I made when I decided to start a fractional CFO business. And you'll want to be sure to stay till the end where I reveal the biggest mistake that I made on that journey. First, let me tell you a little bit about my backstory. I went to college in the United States, majoring in finance and accounting, and went directly from there to a public accounting firm in the audit department. I spent 5 years in public accounting, earning my CPA license along the way, as well as getting to see kind of the insides of a lot of different companies. At about the 5-year mark, it was time for me to transition into a different career. And my choice on that path was to go to work for what was a joint venture of a much larger company, which eventually merged into that larger company, and that became a Fortune 50 company that was publicly traded. Now, you can imagine all of the things that come with that. And during my 16 years with that company, we did a lot of coordinating external audits, helping with the quarterly reporting as well as the annual reporting. I also got involved with a lot of special projects that fueled my desire to start working on those types of projects after I left my corporate job. And ultimately, those influenced the type of work that I do in my fractional CFO business. But that's a story for another day. Today, I want to talk to you about what the big considerations I made at the beginning of my fractional CFO journey, how I made that decision, and what are some of the things that you might want to consider in your decision process as well. First and foremost, let's remember that I had already spent over 20 years in a corporate environment. So one of my key considerations is that I didn't want to replicate that experience inside a business that I might be creating. So there's all sorts of things that meant for me. But key among them was that I didn't want to go to an office 5 days a week and sit in a cubicle. I also didn't want to just get another job. So having made those two key distinctions, that led me down a path of understanding that not only did I not want to go to the same office 5 days a week, I didn't want to have to go to any office 5 days a week. So location flexibility and even location independence was a key consideration for why I decided to become a fractional CFO. The second consideration for me was what type of companies I wanted to work with, and could I find those types of companies? Did they exist? So as I was looking at them, I came up with kind of the psychographics of companies. This wasn't about what industry they were in or whether they were geographically close to me or any of those types of things. This was more about where they were in their business life cycle and maturity level. I knew that I wasn't the type of person, either in expertise, skill set, or demeanor, that was going to be great working with only startup companies. I also wasn't the type of person who was going to be great at working with really sticky turnaround situations. So I took those out of the running for consideration. That left me with other companies that I would want to consider. The third thing that I considered when I was deciding to be a fractional CFO was, could I really provide value to the resulting companies that came from step 2? Was this something that they really needed? I didn't want to just be spending my time and collecting my monthly retainer on companies that I wasn't adding value to. That was a critical component for me. And I certainly think some of that was my hangover from corporate America, where you often felt like a cog in the machine. But it was something that I considered, and whether as a fractional CFO, I could be a CFO leader, or if I was going to end up being a glorified financial manager. Now, I will definitely tell you that other things have evolved in my business over the decade I've been running it, but those were the things that I started with. Now, here's the biggest mistake that I made. The biggest mistake that I made is that I still, even with all of those things considered, didn't go all in on my fractional CFO business. I still had one foot in and one foot out. I was doing a lot of special projects versus just working with my retainer clients and providing as much value as I could to them. Don't get me wrong, all of my clients got all of the value that I think that was important at that point in time. But if I could go back and do it all again, I would make that decision a little bit differently. I would really commit to my fractional CFO business, and it wouldn't have been nearly as bumpy of a ride getting started as it turned out to be. I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little of the backstory about how I came to be a CFO leader versus a financial manager, and some of the things that you might want to consider when you're making your decision. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it and also subscribe to this channel so that you can get additional content for fractional CFOs.